It is Wednesday, May 29th, otherwise known as the Personal Finance World's National 529 Day. And for those who are wondering what National 529 Day is, well, it's a day where the U.S. celebrates and brings awareness to the flexible and tax-advantaged savings plans that help families fund their children's educational goals. Many families, they actually use retirement and savings accounts to pay for college instead of taking full advantage of 529 plans. So pay up, pay attention here, causing more Americans to miss out on significant savings opportunities. So how can you decide which 529 plan is the right fit for your family? Joining me now in studio is Tricia Scarlata, who is the JPMorgan Asset Management Head of Education Savings. Great to have you here. This is a national holiday.
It is.
For you, this is a big day. It all comes down to this, as we were mentioning. So first and foremost, for those who are trying to decide which plan is right for them, what's the initiation of the thought process there?
You know, I think you first have to look at your state, right? Because there are tax benefits by certain states, so it depends where you reside, right? So for New York, for example, in New York, you have an in-state tax deduction, so you would certainly want to first consider the New York plan and try to take advantage of that in-state tax deduction.
How soon should families start allocating funds to a 529 savings plan?
Question we get every day. I mean, you want to start as soon as possible. I mean, you can even open an account before you have a child if you'd like to. You can make yourself the beneficiary. It is never too early to start, but it's also never too late. So people do feel that, you know, I didn't start early enough, so I'm not going to bother. I tell people it's never too early, never too late, never too little.
How much should you be relying on this plan versus, say, scholarships down the line, and the mix of making sure that you've got other financial aid vehicles in tandem with what you've put away in your savings too?
Yeah, I think, look, the average family last year received about $15,000 in financial aid. So when you start to think about what is the cost of an institution, so a public institution is somewhere around $25,000 a year, where a private institution is somewhere around $60,000+.
Oh, don't remind me.
So
My
I know.
goodness.
So you really can't rely on that aid.
Yeah.
It's because it really depends, and so grants are going to be need-based. So that's obviously going to be based upon someone's income and assets. So I always steer people to really the most money you can get is merit scholarships. Really, we always want to encourage our children to do well in school, but that's really where the most money is merit.
You mentioned what the average disbursement was, $15K this past year, about $15K. There have been a lot of changes to FAFSA over the course of this year too.
Yeah, there have been. And look, FAFSA is getting a bad rap a little bit this year. There was a Simplification Act that came out that stipulated the change in the whole process. And really what the Department of Education wanted to do was simplify the process of applying for financial aid. So make that, daunting form, which I've filled out myself of 100+ questions, take it down to 25 to 30, and make aid more available to more people. Unfortunately, it's had a lot of glitches and issues, so it's getting a bit of a bad rap this year. Next year, it will be better when they get rid of all of these sort of glitches and errors that happened. It came out quite late, so families couldn't apply till late, and some families are still waiting to get their aid packages.
It's interesting. I mean, and the word has come up several times, as it should, because the word family is probably that's the most important word to all this. It's such family planning on your finances when you're talking about college. This is perhaps one of the biggest investments outside of a house that many families will make in terms of the college costs for their children here too. So all of these things considered, and it being such a family decision, do you see the costs of college coming down anytime soon?
Listen, I have a rising senior in college.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And a rising senior in high school. So I am paying those same bills. And I hope, just like everybody else out there, that they come down. They have not. And we don't expect them to do so. Even during the pandemic, they didn't come down. And really, it's on average 5 to 6% a year. So we just don't anticipate that. And we find that, families really are saving. They're planning, which is great news, but they're not necessarily doing it in the right way. They're putting money into cash accounts. So you get a gift from a family member, the holidays come around, a birthday, I put it into a checking or a savings account or a CD. They're not taking that extra step and having, an investment plan around those dollars. And we're seeing about 67% of families are not leveraging a 529 account, so they're missing out on those tax benefits and those potential investment earnings. And cash is just not going to get you there when it's going 5 to 6%, increase every year.
What are the reasons that families are holding out on a 529 account versus just a cash account or CDs?
So I think some of it's education, awareness, which I hope we're doing every day, certainly. Spreading the word. I think some of people are saying it's just too early for me to start, which we talked about earlier. Like, it's never too early to start. In fact, again, you can open an account without a child and make yourself the beneficiary and then switch it to that child when they're born and you have a social security number. So it's never too early. And also 529 plans have become so flexible over time that you don't have to worry that if that child doesn't go to college, because that's another big reason. Well, my child may not go to college.
Right.
Yes, but 75% of last year's high school graduating class went on to a 2 or 4 year institution. But also 529 plans, it's not just 2 and 4 year institutions, it's vocational school, it's apprenticeships. Some have the ability to roll over to a Roth IRA. So don't let that discourage you from starting.
Tricia, thanks so much for taking the time here in studio with us. The key information on 529 plans, Tricia Scarlata, JPMorgan Asset Management, Head of Education Savings. Appreciate it.
Thank you.